Oh my god, it happened again, and that's so annoying. What the hell? I'm gonna go. Wait, let me just send it a new room. Oh my god. I'm not gonna stop streaming at this point because, like, I'm like nearly done with the game actually. I just need to do one more thing. Oh, not really one more thing. I just need to do like. Yeah, I know, right? It happened again. Oh, what the? I can't see the comment. Hold up. Oh, okay, I'm gonna have to go to my channel again. Let me just... Okay, I'll send this a new streaming room. Let me go back. Okay, no. Okay, should be done. Oh my god, that's so annoying. I was so close to... So close. I was so close to finishing the game as well. What the hell? Hello? Oh. Oops. Oh. Yeah, it did happen again. I'm very annoyed about it. We're like so close to finishing the game as well, because this is actually the last part of the game. Well, there's also that upcoming DLC, the wedding DLC they're making. I might stream that when it comes out. I might stream that when it comes out too. What matters is that you arrived safely. Oh, let's hope nothing happens. I don't care if this happens again. I'm gonna keep streaming this because we're literally nearly done. Mum appeared at her side with a nod. Welcome back, kiddos. You appreciated that your parents respected you as an adult, even if Mum still called you kiddo. You figured long ago that you'd always be her kiddo, no matter how grown you became. It was part of the whole parent-child deal with her. Yeah, hug them. Hug, hug, hug. You took another step forward and pulled Mum and Ma into a great big hug, squeezing them tight. Their arms wrapped around you in return, and you could feel their love for you in the embrace. Missed you both. Yeah, I missed them both. We missed you too, Airi. It's always nice when I'm able to come by. Your mums giggled, pleased. I hope you've both been doing well. Is everything set up to your anniversary dinner?
No problem.
We're happy to help if there's something we can do. We've been plenty fine. It's been a little quiet, but that's not a bad thing. Mum placed her arm around Ma's shoulder and gave her a side hug.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about the party. We're just planning to eat at the Cypress. Nothing fancy. Which is kind of funny thing to say about a fancy country club. What even is a country club? The biggest issue had just been making sure everyone could make it for the day. Speaking of which, Liz will be arriving tonight. We're planning on picking her up later. I guess Liz isn't as grown up as Airi. Mum snickered at her own joke, and Ma lightly elbowed her with a barely hidden grin. Shush. As I was saying, we could drop you off whenever. I'm sorry there's not space for you in the house. It's gone crowded in the old rooms since you. Seems to only happen to this game though. It hasn't happened to any of my other streams, but it only happens to this game. I've started to notice. Yeah, I started to notice. I really hope that I can finish this game before another one of this happens. I'd be very disappointed. I don't know where all the stuff keeps coming from. Sure you don't, Pamela. It's okay, Cove already has a hotel room. I'm gonna be staying in anyways. Cove sent you pictures of the place when he arrived. Stylish and roomy. It seemed very nice. Yep, I'll go with that. You're a couple anyways, aren't you supposed to be doing coupley things or whatever? He claimed that the bed was comfortable, so you had high hopes about that, though mostly you were looking forward to having him next to you as you slept once again. Don't worry, game. Actually, well, we're quite close to the ending. Your mum smiled, relieved. Pardon. Kyra's already here, isn't she? Sorry, kind of broke in there. She directed her question at Cove. He bobbled his head a bit to go along with his reply. Yeah, I heard she made it. She's gotta be staying with Dad while she's in town. Oh, Kyra. Have you gone over and said hello yet? Cove chuckled self-consciously, and this time he shook his head. You raised an eyebrow, since you had figured he would have taken the chance while waiting for you. Not yet. I should go do that now. I just wanted Airi to be there too. He caught your eyes with an adoring smile. Aw, how sweet. Mum laughed at that, no doubt thinking that Cove was sweet but ridiculous.
Oh, nice.
It's nice to know your priorities. Yeah. Cove awkwardly rubbed his arm and shifted on his feet, looking all too much like he did as a kid.
So?
Airi, do you want to go over to my house now? That's a good idea. We won't be leaving until late evening. You heard Ma. Let's go see your parents. Cove perked back up, excited once more. We'll keep an eye on your things while you're out. There's no reason to be carrying all that around. You sit down, your bags in the living room, tucking into a corner where they wouldn't be in the way. Cove helped. Your mums waved the two of you off as you walked back to the entranceway. Thanks, see you soon. You waved back and opened the front door for Cove. With that, you were on your way to see Cove's family next. This trip put a special little pep in Cove's steps as you crossed the street to his dad's house together. Your spirits were really high. During this, you felt like a teen again. You had known Cove's parents for a long time now. When it came to what you called his dad, yeah, still stuck with the Mr. Holden. At this point, you couldn't imagine calling him anything else. Despite it being formal, it rolled off your tongue naturally. For his mum, yeah. She always preferred that even when you were still a kid. Honestly, you couldn't imagine calling her anything else. Cove hopped up to the front door and didn't bother knocking. He twisted the door and swung it open. With a grin, Cove gave you a gratified thumbs up. You shook your head in disapproval, but you both knew that you hypocritically supported his behavior. Your dad is lucky we aren't criminals. You brushed your comment aside and went straight into his old home. Mr. Holden was there, standing in his kitchen and babysitting a pan on the stove. Oh wow, he's taller than his dad now. damn. His head turned at the sound of the footsteps, and he brightened instantly at the sight of you both. Cove matched his enthusiasm instantly. If it was anyone else, you would have thought he was lighting up with a childlike joy over seeing his dad again. Since you both knew what Cove was actually like as a kid, you were aware that this level of happiness with Mr. Holden was definitely not equivalent to any childhood feelings of his. Yeah, he was much more edgy-like. Nearly went off with a Sasuke route, huh? Dad! Cove! My son! Mr. Holden graciously pushed what he was cooking into a different burner and flipped off the heat. He rushed over to you both. Cove flew forward and met him halfway in a hug. Cove squished his eyes shut, and he held his dad in a tight hug. Mr. Holden soothingly rubbed his son's back. The more of an adult Cove became, the more he turned into Big Daddy's boy. It seemed. Hold up, another's a couple. Man, I'm downing this water fast. I missed you. I missed you too. As sweet and teasing aside, it was sweet. And teasing aside, it was wonderful to see them at this place, in their relationship after years of struggling to connect. When the hug broke, Mr. Holden hooked an arm around his son's neck. He let out a deep laugh. I still can't believe you outgrew me. I really thought I had that on him after he graduated from high school, but then he had to keep growing. Yeah, I know, right? What is he eating? Meat? I mean, probably, right? Maybe a lot of exercise too? Chuckling, he shook his fist in mock anger. Cove ducked his head and laughed in kind. Sorry, Dad. Cove's cheeks turned pink, and he averted his eyes. He was becoming bashful, so you knew he had more he wanted to say. Cove softly added, but I was raised really well. Aww. How sweet! Why do I keep saying that? His dad's expression instantly crumbled with emotion. He sniffled. Cove put an arm around him too and tugged him into a side hug. You observed their little reunion fondly, happily to let them enjoy their moment. They were a perfect pair of sentimentality. Mr. Holden eventually turned his attention towards you. Hi Airi, so great to see you again. He pulled away from Cove and approached you with a little wave. He was back to his cheery self. Excited, your voice rang out loudly in your ears. The warm smile on Mr. Holden's face twitched for a moment, and then his head fell to release a howl of laughter. Oh, let me just... Okay, what in the world? Oh, okay then. Okay then. I missed having you around. Nodding, you could feel a warm blush rising to your face. It felt good being back home. Mr. Holden cleared his throat, pulling attention to himself. He crossed his arms. But before we get too carried away, it's not a real reunion yet. Kyra's still in the guest suite. I'll go get her. He eagerly bolted down the hall, and you could hear every step he took. It ended with a distinct knock. Kyra, they're here. It was only seconds before there was the sound of a door being yanked open, the pounding of feet hitting the wood floor even louder this time.
My baby!
My baby! Next to you, Cove let out a nervous laugh. His parents entered the living room, and Kyra stretched her arms out wide when she spotted you both. Cove went to her easily. Yeah, go for a hug. I missed her. I missed you, Kyra. She pulled you tightly into her arms with Cove. You were squished but felt every bit of love Kyra held in her heart for you both. Cove wrapped his free arm around her too. He rested his head on top of hers and let out a happy sigh. After a moment, Kyra let go and pulled back to get a better look at your faces. She surveyed every inch of them and appeared satisfied. You're both looking well. That's wonderful. And just what I like to see. Thanks, and hi, Mum. Thank you. Kyra chuckled and took one last look over Cove. She poked a few stray hairs on his head until he lightly moved her hand away. Really, I'm so happy that you're here. So, what's new? How you both been? Kyra gave a nod for Mr. Holden to go first. Cheerfully, he waved a hand.
No worries.
Oh, same old, same old. Still got the shop, still got my friends and family, of course, and still the most exciting thing around here is seeing who'll rent that one free condo. Incredible! I always knew you were such a snore. They snickered, and you couldn't help but peek at Cove. He rolled his eyes dramatically, drawing a few giggles from you, but the whole time there was still a happy fixed smile fixed on his face. And another swig of water. For me, things have been good. I've gotten a lot of interesting assignments lately. Oh, recently I went to Seattle. Where even is Seattle? I'm not American, so I don't know where Seattle even is. Must be near the sea, because the name has Seattle has sea in it. I don't know. So I recently went to Seattle, and Kyra twirled a strand of her hair shyly, and her mouth curved into a grin. Whatever she was thinking about, it made her happy. Things have still been going on with that guy from work, but it's a little early to bring him all the way out to California to meet the family. Oh, she got a significant other maybe. Nice. Cove crossed his arms and his dad nodded. It was clear she appreciated the acceptance from her two boys. I'm really happy for you. Thank you. You're honestly glad that things were going well for her. She was clearly grateful for your approval as well. So that's us. Do you two have plans for your first day back? The only thing I have to do is pick up Liz later tonight before you head back to our hotel room. Great. Suddenly, he looked over his shoulder, his eyebrows pushed together. I'm glad you're here, but I just remembered that I was in the middle of cooking something. Only a small cackle escaped you while you fought off the giant grin taking over your face. Meanwhile, Cove erupted in laughter that had his dad shaking his head. That's fine, Dad. Go salvage what you can. I think it's nice to explore the old neighborhood for a while anyways, since we've got time. Cove directed the last part to you as he spoke, hoping that you'd want to go with him. You nodded automatically. You were already looking forward to it. That's a perfect idea.
Makes sense.
I think so too. You should go enjoy the day. I'll hang back here so I won't be a third wheel. And someone's gotta keep an eye on Cliff before he catches the whole kitchen on fire. Oh! No wonder why it's called Seattle. Oh, and welcome back, Fast Guy. So the state is located on the coast. Oh. No wonder why it's called Seattle. Nice. Makes sense. Mom, you're not a third wheel. Yeah, you have a significant other. Cove stiffly stuck his arms against his side like a little child. A small smirk tugged at Kyra's mouth. She winked. You know what I mean. Have a good walk. I'll see you both later. Cheerily, Mr. Holden waved before going back to his cooking. Cove smiled warmly. Okay, bye. Bye, we'll see you soon. Cove trailed behind you as you walked into the welcoming summer sun. He stopped closing his I know, right? New information about America. He stopped, closing his eyes to stretch his mouth in the warm rays. Satisfied, Cove turned to you and carefully took your hand in his. The heat of that was better and more comforting than any ray of sunlight that could shine you today. Stepping closer, you realized Stepping closer, you squeezed his hand. Your mouth curved into a playful smile. Let's get out of here. Cove hummed in agreement while you climbed onto his back. Wait, I climb onto his back? Is this a piggyback right now? Wait, since when? Oh well. When you both had a secure grip, he stood up and the movement bounced you more than usual. Under your hair, you could feel the vibrations of laughter in Cove's chest. Let's go! Let's go! Naturally, you found yourself heading down the road towards the beach. Your spirits rose even higher as you strode across the sand, heading for the shopping district. Arriving, you wove past tourists who were taking in the sights for the very first time. Being a local was a badge of honor you wore proudly. You casually walked past the shops. Over the years, some had closed down, but many of the stores were still exactly the same as they were when you were little. Cove snapped his head as far as it could go to one side, so dramatically you couldn't have missed it. Something clearly caught his eyes, but you couldn't see it.
Please?
There's a pretzel stand open today. Can we get one? Man, aw, look at that smile. He's beaming at us. Aww. Aww. When his gaze found you again, he wore the biggest smile. You chuckled. Yeah, you don't need to ask for permission though. Whoa, does your heart want a... Wow, want a pretzel? Pretzel? Yep, it does. For a moment, you both quietly laughed at that. You placed a hand over your own heart. Wait, why? Then I think you should follow it. You're gonna be the one that comes with a little... You're gonna get the one that comes with a little frosting cup, aren't you? That's right. After that, you both happily made your way over, being pulled in faster by the delicious aroma of the stall. With that, you changed course to the pretzel stand for a snack break. Cove was very pleased by the morsel he picked up, and that was good to see. The sun reached across the sky as you went up and down the road as a pair. By the time you returned to the beach, day was beginning to fade into night. Cove kicked his shoes off, tossing them into the sand. He wanted to get his feet wet in the waves as fast as possible. Yeah, go ahead. I'm not... Save. In seconds, you had your feet free, and your shoes abandoned in the sand. You kept going until you were ankle deep in the water. Cove sighed contentedly. You followed his line of sight to the setting sun, painting the sky with hues of orange and pink. It really feels like summer now. Yeah, it's summer right now, I think. I think summer starts from November to January, or maybe February, I don't know, I can't tell. I'm not good with seasons. He wore a bent smile when he turned to you. The light illuminated like a halo behind him, and the sight took your breath away. In fact, it's hard to think of anything that feels more perfectly summer than moments exactly like this. Being here at Sunset Bird with you. I'm so glad that we were able to come back for a visit. You hummed in agreement. Your heart fluttered at the moment you met Cove's eyes. Your mouth lifted into a pleasant smile. Noise. Pardon. Yeah, I'm happy too. The last rays of sunlight glittered on the water, mesmerizing you. You couldn't help but feel like this was exactly where you both belonged right now. Cove murmured quietly, losing himself in his thoughts again. Shortly after, you saw his hand shoot down into the sand. He stood straight back up, with a lopsided grin, and got to work brushing the sand off his prize. You knew without a single word Cove found a new shell for your collection. As you wandered down the beach, Cove followed at your side in comfortable silence. Your shadows stretched across the sand like they were leading the way. The only noise you could hear were the soft footfalls of your feet and the waves gently rocking into the shore. For a moment in time, you felt like there were only the two of you and your own little world. Eventually, the bubble popped when you realized that your phone was going off. It was Ma, that you were going to be back soon. Hoping that you were going to be back soon. Curious, Cove's eyes slid down to your phone. You let your phone You let your hand fall back down to your side. You held the phone pressed against the palm of your hand. It's Ma. She wants to know when we'll be there. Cove scratched the back of his neck and then shook his head. His mouth twitched like he had a funny thought. Dang parents. Always trying to make us come back before it gets too dark. Yeah, I laughed. Lol. You'd think after all this time, they'd know that we always find our way home. I think she knows. She's probably just excited to spend time with you. Think so? Yeah, if I was her, I'd be missing you too. After one last glance, you put your phone away again. Cove gave a small shrug. Ready? Yep. Let's go. Together, you left the beach, feeling the call of home pulling you forward. The both of you ran towards your mum's house, leaving the waves behind, but welcoming the beginning of summer. Cove and you ran up from the beach, sand flying from your steps. Cove made it to the road first, but you managed to catch onto him by the time you reached the house. It wasn't exactly a race, yet it also wasn't a competition. Both of you were laughing by the time you bumbled through the old front door together. Dun, bum bum, ba-dum bum bum, ba-dum bum bum, boom, bum bum. You inhaled deeply and shouted loud enough to be heard anywhere in the house. Wait, what? We're here? Wow, that was sudden. Your mums were seated in the living room. Their eyes sparkled as they locked on you and your light dusting off the sand.
Hello.
Welcome home. Mum leaned forward, eyebrows raised at your jubilant entrance. Ma sighed wistfully.
Aww.
That brings back memories. Cove chuckled shyly as he scratched the back of his head. I hope we're not too late. Nope, you're just in time, but you better start packing up. Liz will be waiting. Ma nodded as she stood up from her seat. She lightly ran her fingers across her clothes to smooth out the wrinkles. It took you a second to remember where you had put your stuff. You needed to get all in the car so you could get everything back to your hotel. Oh my lord, it's nearly 2 a.m. Frick. Can I help? You shrugged and directed him to your bags. With Cove, your mums, and yourself on the job, it only took one trip to the car to get everything. Cove firmly closed the trunk and you thanked everyone for the assistance. Of course, kiddo. Come along, Briggs family, let's get in the car. That means you too, Cove. You know, you're essentially family anyways. After being neighbors for so long and eventually becoming a couple, yeah, you're practically family at this point. Thanks. Exactly. Well said, Airi. I know, right? Cove climbed into the back seat with a decidedly touched expression on his face. You got in on the other side. When everyone was situated and buckled, the engine was started and Ma pulled out onto the street. You couldn't help but feel amused to be stuck in the back seat with Cove. Your mum's driving you around. It really was like you were little kids again. Cove caught you staring at him and gave you a bent smile. He was probably on the same wavelength as you from the sheer mischief in it. There was some light chatting on the drive. No one brought up anything too deep, and it mostly became sopping, jokey stories. Nice. Let me just have another swig of water. And I'm out of water from my cup again. Yep. Yep, it is indeed nearly 2 a.m. Well, actually, well, to be more exact, it's 1:46 a.m. now, but like, it's nearly 2 a.m. anyways. Yep, this is what it's like living in NZ. You're practically hours ahead of everyone else. That means we technically live in the future, technically. But like, I'm pretty sure there's one more country that lives a lot, that is a lot more ahead of time by like a few minutes, I think. I think 45 minutes? I think it's Easter Island, but I'm not sure about that. The entire trip was marked by a heavy sense of anticipation. Everyone was ecstatic to see Liz and hear what she had been up to. Is this what people would call an endurance stream now? Not really, but it's not really an endurance stream. It's just me trying to finish the darn game without the stream crashing again. I'm nearly done. When you neared the airport, Mum pulled out her phone to call Liz. Ma followed the signs to the correct pickup area and asked you to shout if you saw your sister. Yeah, Liz, we're at Wing B. There's a blue sign that says North America.
Alright.
Tell her that we're right in front of the building with blue windows. She says that she's outside, right by a yellow truck. Pardon again. I see at least 3 yellow trucks. I think they're doing work at the airport. The back and forth continued, with Ma driving around in the wide circular airport road, while Ma attempted coordination between her and Liz's location. Aha! You leaned forward, peering out the front of the car. A tall, poised silhouette pulled a pale purple roll-along suitcase behind her. It was definitely Liz. I should rest? Maybe. I'll think it. She waved to the car. I'll rest after I'm done with the game, lol. She waved to the car. Ma parked along the sidewalk next to her, and Mum put her phone away with a cheer. Mission accomplished, team. Ma excitedly reached over to grasp Mum's raised hand, thrilled that both of her kids were back.
Good job.
That's right. Liz came closer and yanked open the back door beside her. She popped her head into the car, a smile ordinary despite how tired she appeared. It must have been a long trip for her, yet her expression was that same familiar smirk that you had grown up with.
Hey.
Hello, children. I'm back. And we meet again. You laughed. Liz nodded at your chuckles, appreciative that you enjoyed her introduction. Yeah, hug her. Save again. You quickly unbuckled and then launched yourself at your sister. She wrapped her arms around you and squeezed. Well, hi to you too, kiddo. Oh, not you. Oh, wait. Hello. I should definitely get some rest. Oh, you guys are too sweet. Hello, sweetie. It's so nice that you're here. Hi, Elizabeth. He jokingly huffed at her. We're not children. Whatever you say, baby boy. She turned her gaze back to Mum and Ma. You really know how to make someone feel appreciated. Her spirits are high. You could tell she was just as happy to be here as everyone was to see her. She left the door open but ducked out to walk around the back of the car. She opened the trunk and lifted her luggage in. Maybe thinking about rest lol. I mean, I'm thinking about resting, but like, not now. Too early. I'm gonna move your junk, Airi. I'll keep it in front of my bag so you can get it later. Mom's dropping you off first, right? Yes, but that's not junk. It's important. Liz slammed the trunk closed without responding. Liz swung around to the open door. You noticed that her hair had a few flyaways, no doubt from a long day of traveling. She leaned against the frame of the car, giving you and Cove a significant look. I'm not sitting in the middle. I already have 5 hours of that nightmare of the flight. There's no way I'm getting in between the two of you. I mean, really, who would ever want to be the person pulling Cove Holden and Airi Briggs apart? Yeah, I know, right? Cove puffed out indulgent. What the frick is that word? Indignantly. Yet again, her classic tease of your relationship. Liz continued along like she didn't notice.
So?
I don't care how you decide who's scooting. I figure you can fight it out somehow. Cove glanced over at you and shrugged. He unbuckled his seatbelt and moved to the middle. You stayed quiet. With as large as Cove was, he technically was a worse choice for the middle than Liz. Despite Liz's height, she was still smaller than Cove. Cove didn't exactly even fit here there. Cove's legs touched yours. The back seat became rather close quarters when trying to fit 3 grown adults. It had worked much better when you were all smaller. With the window seat open, Liz squished herself into the car and shut the door. When everyone was settled, Ma began to pull out.
Let's go.
We're off! Liz crossed her legs, compacting herself slightly. She braced most of her weight on the door behind her instead of sitting up straight. It gave her a little more room. Hopefully we finished this journey. This car's almost as old as we are.
Now.
And it's still just as good as you are. Save again. You saw a plane arriving out in the distance. You wondered where it had come from and imagined what all its passengers were here for. Mum turned up the radio as Mum merged into the highway. The station was familiar, the normal soundtrack for when she had driven you and Liz around town. Liz bounced in her seat, enjoying the classic tune. The song would have been old enough to vote at this point if it was a person. That was hard to believe. Ba da 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 dun da 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 dun 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 da 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 dun 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 da 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 dun 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 bum da 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 da. We're no strangers to love. Oh my god. With Liz, the conversation livened up despite it getting later and later in the night. She told you all about her week and all the travel preparations she's made. By the time she made it to the actual tale of the travel herself, Liz started chuckling. On the plane, Liz had sat next to a couple of girls who had talked a lot about how well they could read people. Liz recounted their conversation with her in hilarious detail, as they had apparently tried to guess her occupation after only shaking her head. Neither of the girls could agree with one another, and Liz had refused to just tell them. However, the drive to your hotel was only so long. Eventually, your group arrived. You yawned and got out of the car when it stopped. Cove clambered out after you. Liz gave a loud sigh of relief at all the extra space she had found herself with. You and Cove grabbed the luggage and then waved off your family after you said your goodbyes. Yes, indeed. If anything, I'm pretty sure I rickrolled you all twice in this whole stream. At least twice in the entire stream. Oh, I have no water. You and Cove grabbed the luggage and then waved it off your family. After you said your goodbyes, after they left, you and Cove went to find your room. You scanned the key card to unlock your hotel room. It sounded out a soft beat and then you turned the handle of the door. The door creaked open, and you craned your head to take in a look. The first thing you noticed was a large king-sized bed in the middle of the room. It was a prim-looking space. It seemed clean and smelled faintly like floral air freshener. A smile played on Cove's face as he watched you take in the space. The bed's nice, huh? Which one of us is gonna use it? Aw shit, here we go again. I'm kidding, I just want to share, really. Good. Cove let out a breath in relief that he had been holding on to. I got a good hotel, didn't I? Nodded wordlessly in approval. Indeed you did, my dude. Cove smelled like a big, pleasant puppy. I will get revenge soon. Okay, good luck with that. Even if I got rickrolled, I probably enjoyed it anyways. You and Cove continued to chat as you settled in. You unpacked some of your stuff and checked out all the room's amenities. Good lord. Cove pointed out the mini fridge and started puzzling over what food could be ordered to the room. It didn't take too many yawns before you both changed day. You had to hunt along the wall to locate the light switch. When you finally found it, you flickered it off with a sense of triumph. You turned your head over to Cove, who stood behind you in his pajamas. He was cozy and comfortable, but the pieces didn't match. He never minded that. We should get some. Cove smiled, a soft expression that was adorable. Yes, he is a very adorable, pretty cute boy, man-child guy who likes water too much. He could be great friends with Haru from Free. Alright, let's go to bed. Sleep. Despite saying that it was bedtime, Cove took a step forward towards you. He wrapped his arms around your back and you leaned into his embrace. Then he lifted you off your feet. What? Still not putting you down, Cove promptly dropped himself backwards. The both of you crashed onto the tight-tucked sheets of the hotel bed. He laughed the entire time. Whee! Cove bounced on the landing and absorbed most of the impact. You laid on his chest, feeling a little jostled. You absolute madman! Save again. That was unexpected, but absolutely thrilling. Your laughter only made him laugh louder. He smiled up at the ceiling, a thought clearly crystallizing. My dad used to do that kind of thing when I was little, sort of. Nostalgia was clear and it was fond memory, and you felt something warm in your chest. You made a small noise of understanding that turned into a yawn. When Cove yawned in return, you pulled out the sheets until you were actually under the blankets. Good night. No. Yes, the forehead's better. You pressed your lips onto his forehead and then drew back to see his cute grin, obviously enjoying his goodnight kiss. Cove wrapped his arms around you and snuggled next to you. He let out a contented breath. You reached out to hold Cove under one arm and then used your other hand to comb through his hair. The two of you relaxed into one another, and you knew neither of you would want to be anywhere else. I can't believe we're really here. You and Liz and everyone else are going to be here in Sunset Road again. I was staring at all the scenery going by while we were driving here, and it honestly felt like we never left. He ran a hand down his face. I mean, in some ways it feels like it's been ages and everything's different. Some that is definitely because I'm staying at a hotel instead of being in my room at Dad's, but yeah. Yeah, that's exciting. And scary. Cove nodded. He understood completely. I'm looking. A yawn forced an interruption into the statement. Cove was undeterred. I'm looking forward to this. He tucked his head into your neck. You felt his lashes fluttered close against your skin. Same here.
See you tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow, Airi. His words were a whisper. You barely heard. It might not have been that exactly. You might have just been guessing. Cove had always had a habit of mumbling. It was okay either way, whether you heard it or not. Whether you heard it or only thought you heard, the sentiment was true regardless. Cove would see you tomorrow when he opened his eyes and the sunlight turned to your hometown of Sunset Bird. You comfortably drifted off to sleep and eagerly awaited seeing Cove tomorrow as well. Your eyes gently opened to see a dim, unfamiliar ceiling. You recalled where you were, a hotel room. Yawning, you felt your muscles relax and warm enough that sleep threatened to pull you under again. Morning. Cove's voice shook, brought you back to conscious. The heat made sense now. You feel the comfortable weight against you was your boyfriend. Ugh, significant other. Can I just say significant other? His arm was draped around you, and his fingers were slightly drawing shapes on your pajamas. You twisted over to his face fully. Morning, did you sleep well? I did. The expression on his face softened with a content sigh. You felt his index finger lightly traced out the shape of a heart. Oh! Even the shapes are different, huh? There's nothing but good dreams when you're around. Oh, wow, that's sweet of you. Yeah, let's go down. Pushing into him, you squished your face into his chest. The air knocked from Cove's lungs came out in a light chuckle. Cove closed his eyes, his hand found in the middle of your back again, and he held it there, enjoying the closeness of the moment. Neither of you were making any moves to get up and actually start the day. It was sweet and comfortable to be wrapped up in Cove, so you could indulge just a little while longer. Eventually, enough time flew. By that, there really wasn't any minutes to spare. You should have some night snack. Nah, it wouldn't be a good idea. It's like 2:04 already. It's like 2:04 now, so I don't think it's a good idea for me to have a night snack. Okay, how about this? Once it's 2:30, I'll stop stream. I'll end stream and take a rest. That way, it'll be long enough for me, and you guys would be would be relieved for me for getting a rest. With me for getting a rest, I mean. But geez, man, I'm starting to feel the effects of tiredness here, though. Eventually, enough time flew by that there really wasn't any minutes to spare. There were too many people waiting, so you both crawled out of the sheets together. Standing up, Cove took a few seconds to stretch. He glanced over at you with an animated expression. I'm really looking forward to your mum's anniversary dinner tonight. It's gonna be fun. I think so too.
I mean...
This whole trip is great, actually. Being here with everybody is like having another chance at being a kid. We can do all this... Yeah, but it's two though. It's two though. And I kind of have to eat at a certain time, or else I end up with like it's not really a stomach ache, it's more like with a bloated stomach. Yeah, I'll end up with a bloated stomach if I end up eating at the wrong time. If I end up eating too late or too early, I'll end up with a bloated stomach. Quite annoying if you ask me. Being here with everybody is like having another chance at being a kid. We can do all the stuff we used to do and all the things we never did but wanted to. Oh yeah, Something about the way Cove worded that dug up a memory you hadn't thought about in a long time. The first time you met his dad, and the money he offered you. Oh yeah, the deal. Chewing at the inside of your cheek, it felt like a lifetime ago, but you knew that it would still matter to Cove if he knew. You just weren't entirely sure what it would mean to him. Save again, save again. You snuck a quick peek at Cove, but his stare was already glued to you. He raised a questioning eyebrow, leaving the rest up to you. Hey, funny story. Cove frowned, but you had his attention. He slowly slid down to sit on the corner of the bed. Finally. After, what, 10 years? Okay. When you and your dad moved to the neighborhood and you ran away, remember that? Of course. Well, I met your dad first, and during that conversation, he offered me $20 to be your friend. His mouth fell open, and his head tilted to the side. There was no unringing to that bell. Feeling a bit guilty, you couldn't look at Cove while you admitted how you reacted to the offer. And I did take the money. The look on Cove's face twisted. His eyes pushed into a squint, his lips screwed up, and you saw his face dart across your skin.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. The realization tumbled out of him in a whisper. You couldn't read his expression, but it remained firm. Oh, he was crying again, until big sad tears started bubbling and dripping down his cheek. He flew a few steps forward, shocked and eyes wide with concern. I froze. There wasn't a single thing you could possibly think of to make Cove feel better. You merely stood there, watching him in silence. Cove's tense jaw slowly loosed as his mouth began to wobble into a frown. Emotions overtook him, and he failed to swallow down a broken sob. Oh man. Oh, I feel kind of bad now. The tears pooling in his blue eyes intensified, and they streamed quickly down his cheeks. Cove hung his head low and let them all fall. Yeah, give him a hug. Unable to stay back any longer, you closed the space between you both. He flinched over your touch initially, but after Cove leaned into you, and his sobs reverberated in your chest. The tears continued, but you didn't mind getting wet because Cove needed this more. You just wanted him to feel better. It wasn't right away, but Cove was eventually able to pull himself more together. He straightened his back and sniffled. You took a nervous step backwards to give him some space. Cove let out shaky breaths while he scrubbed the remaining tears from his face.
It's okay.
I'm not upset with you for what happened, or because you're telling me now. You didn't do anything. I actually feel bad for you. You had to keep a secret you didn't ask for, and it was for the most of your life. A wave felt like it was lifted off your chest. The corner of Cove's mouth hooked into a bent smile, but it was still glossy with tears. I'm not mad at my father either. Then why are you crying? His tone grew delicate again. His emotions were catching back up with him. It's just, I'm so happy with my life, about how it went. Oh, frick my throat. But so much of that, what happens with everything, is out of your control. There's stuff like this, my dad secretly offering you money to be my friend. Remembering those days when I was little and pretty much my whole world was decided by other people. It just really made it all hit. It hits different, doesn't it? Oh my lord. Oh my, I can feel my throat actually kind of straining or streaming for this long. Especially because I'm finding out there was even more going on than I realized. His bottom lip quivered, and new tears ran down his cheeks. It's scary to think about. It would have been so easy for none of this to have even happened. Just Cove threw his arms to the side, trying to convey where you were standing. Where you had ended up after spending a life growing up together. What if my dad moved us to a different neighborhood? Or if I couldn't move away with him at all? Or if my dad didn't care if I had friends or not?
I'm so glad.
But it didn't go differently, and you're here with me. We're together and my parents are some of my very best friends, and I'm just really glad. Your legs felt weak under you during his confession, but you remained rooted in place. Cove seemed to grow more confident. Airi, you're my one and only. Oh my lord. Damn, why is he so sweet? Damn it. God damn it, why are you so sweet? I don't understand. You nodded understandingly. Wait, did I save properly? Save. The sound of your heartbeat deafened everything else in the room. It really was a peculiar and wondrous thing. The direction and series of choices your life took. The shakiness and Cove's smile lessened, and it grew stronger and more assured. You kissed. No, just hug. Just please. Just hug. I don't think I'm gonna be good at kissing anyways. At least on lip. You pulled Cove into your arms and you felt him melt into you. Tightening your hold, you silently sent thanks into the universe for letting Cove be a part of your life. You both waited there, enjoying each other's company. When another minute passed, you felt a calmness settle in your chest. And out in the open, finally, that's a relief. I know, right? Yeah, but hey, your secret keeping skills are seriously unmatched. Chuckling, Cove ran a hand through his hair. You nodded in agreement, trying not to think too much about how many years you'd been holding onto that. We even got together before you brought that up. His words echoed in your head. Cove was right, there was no denying to that. Airi, it's okay. Cove looked at you so gently that the air got stuck in your chest. His head tilted the longer he observed you, and a smile bent.
Don't worry about it.
It's fine, I understand. There was a playful gleam, and Cove's expression shifted into a smirk. Oh? He leaned forward, and you could feel the warmth of his breath. Are there any other confessions you want to make while we're doing this? Instantly, your skin felt like it was prickling and hot. Wait, what confessions? Thoughts about dropping to one knee spun rapidly around in your mind. I don't get what you mean by that, but okay. Cove noticed your shocked reaction. Actually, don't worry about that. I was joking. Cove scratched the back of his neck nervously. You took a deep breath and felt yourself calm down. Thanks. Yeah. Cove clapped his hands together once more, trying to clear out the awkward air. But, well, we better get back to business, huh? We've got a full schedule ahead of us for your mum's big day. Sighing deeply, Cove shrugged. The look he gave you was warm and affectionate, and you knew that everything was going to be okay. Yeah, thumbs up, guys, thumbs up. But thanks again, for letting me know what happened. No problem, I'm glad we got to talk about this. After that, you and Cove moved around each other, busily getting dressed and ready for the day. Light laughter and chatter filled the air the entire time. Bags were packed and phones were sought after. Hand over the phone, because that's kind of rude to just toss it over. Don't want to suddenly break your phone. Thank you. You plucked the phone from your hand and slid it into his pocket. You struggled to keep your giggles in, and Cove raised a questioning brow. What is it? I watched you go past it probably 5 times.
Seriously?
Are you serious? Mm-hmm. Groaning, he resumed what he was doing before the phone crisis. When Cove's back was turned, you double-checked that you hadn't misplaced your phone either. You hadn't. There was nothing else to stop either of you now. In minutes, you were hopping into your ride and heading back to the neighborhood. It was another beautiful summer day and sunset bird. You couldn't resist rolling the window down so you could absorb it all during the drive. Cove sat across the seat from you, near the opposite window. His gaze was locked outside, catching all the old landmarks the vehicle was passing. Your spirits rose even higher the moment you made it home once more. Eager, you hopped out of the car and let yourselves inside. Your mums knew you were going to be there that morning. By the second you made it past the threshold, an excited scream nearly scared you out of your shoes. Oh, who is it? Lee! Oh, and her hair! She changed her hair again. Oh, she's so pretty. As usual. Lee being pretty as usual. Airi, you're here! And guess what? I'm here too! While your heart rate settled, a broad grin quickly took over your whole face. Since your cousin moved out on her own, you noticed that she really found her own groove. She was still the same loving person she'd always been on the inside, but she expressed herself in new ways. Lee was strong, kind, and smart. Over the past few years, she graduated college with a degree in history. Ooh, interesting. Though at last you heard she was pursuing her dreams, working towards getting into the music industry. You smiled. The time you spent apart from Lee was always hard, but when you two came back together, it was all worth it, even though your eardrums might argue otherwise. Lee giggled, putting her hands on her hips. You couldn't wait for all the new things she was going to update you on. Lee leaned to the side to glance past you and meet Cove's eyes. The grin on her face widened while she waved. Hi, Cove! Hey, nice to see you, Lee. I got in practically at dawn. It was a whole thing, but at least I made it here alive. Lee exhaled and slumped her shoulders to emphasize how exhausting the ordeal was. Behind her, Liz made her way over. She crossed her arms at the scene. I'm here too, in case you were wondering. I'm always wondering if you're here somewhere. Liz's lips twitched before twisting into a smug smile. She brushed a stray hair out of her face.
Hey.
You made it sound like I'm always following you around. I have a life of my own if you weren't aware. I know, but when I'm home, I'm always keeping an eye out for my big sister. Old habits. How sweet. I miss the days of checking to see if someone else made it to the TV first. You laughed. Of course that's what her mind would go to. Another friendly shout rang out in the living room. It was as cheery as it ever was from the many times you'd heard it over the years. Good morning, family! Your parents both came out from the side hall together. Morning.
Well?
Now that everyone is here, I do have a little something to mention. Ma put her hand lovingly over her wife's. Mum leaned her head into Ma's with matching affection. We're all still having dinner together, but Pam here actually made plans to take me out to brunch to celebrate our anniversary. Just the two of us. Please, she hooked an arm around Ma's wrist. Sorry to push you out, but I'm sure this group of mature grown-ups will be able to entertain themselves for an afternoon. We don't need to find a sitter or anything. Ooh, 10 minutes left. Totally. 10 minutes left till I end stream. Yeah, have fun, mums. Don't worry about it. We can survive that. Easy, enjoy your brunch. This works out actually. An afternoon open means that there's time to meet up with Terry and Randy. Hopefully they're free today. There's 2 school friends still lived around the area. They knew you were coming for your mum's party, but but when or how you might arrange to see each other wasn't set in stone.
Sounds good.
Definitely, we should call them.
All right.
I have some people I'd like to say hi to as well. Liz had her cell phone in hand, ready to get her plans made before she was even done speaking. Arching an eyebrow, she then directed the next part at Lee. Would you like to come along? We've missed out on a lot of cousin bonding time in the past.
Yeah.
I'd love to. It's been an honor to hang out with you, Liz. Hope you both have fun. Chuckling, Liz smirked. Well, try not to have all the fun. Don't get into too much trouble. You shook your head and Liz winked. She then glanced back at her phone and rapidly typed a new text. Excellent, it's settled. Oh, my hands are actually starting to shake a little. She squeezed at her wife's hand. Her gaze took in the whole room, ecstatic to have the house full again. Today's gonna be perfect.
Yes.
I think so too. I truly couldn't be happier with my wife, my children, and our whole beautiful family. It's already a wonderful anniversary. There were some awes and sweet comments from the group gathered around the couple of the hour. Seeing how your mums were, and you couldn't help but hope that when you got to be their age, that you could be as proud of your life as them. But Ma's attention then fell on you, and the look on her face twisted mischievously. A shiver shot down your spine. Oh, what was my mum thinking this time? Save again. This is a very good time of year for marriage. This is a very good time of year for a marriage, don't you think so? Marriage? What? Marriage? With snickers, all eyes eagerly slid over to you and Cove, shocked at her implication. His cheeks burned red. There was no missing the meaning in Ma's word. She was clear as a bell, and she knew it. You wondered if Cove agreed with Ma's words. You'd been hopefully waiting for him to ask. But you stared straight ahead, trying to conceal the marriage thoughts spinning in your head. The last thing you wanted was to pressure him into acting before he was ready. You caught Cove shyly rubbing at the slight scar that was still visible on his arm. His stuttering never quite reached full sentence, and it instead turned into silence. Cove's brain was shutting down. Ma had sympathy for him.
There.
You don't have to say anything. It's just one little thing to ponder. At that, Cove's mouth snapped shut. With a stiff nod, he creakily glanced at you, as if it was only the two of you here. You got the impression he would have had something to say. For now, a meaningful look was all there was. Right then, let's head back to what we were doing. After that, you enthusiastically began setting up plans to meet with your friends. They were both able to see you, having kept their schedules free from this, and you couldn't wait. Cove was also speedily sending text messages, since you conveyed the plans to Terry and Randy. You imagined that he was letting his parents know about what he was going to be up to. The group continued to chat and catch up until it was time for your mum's brunch and your big meet-up with your friends. Soon enough, everyone was out at the door, looking forward to their fun-filled afternoons and the dinner later at night. Once outside on the neighborhood street, you looked to Cove. He stood at your side with a bent smile. Terry and Randy were driving into town, while you and Cove were traveling on foot to meet them at an easier to reach spot. Man, we really are kids in Sunset Bird again, having to rely on other people who actually have cars to really get anywhere. Now we're stuck walking to whatever is nearby. You nodded along in agreement. 5 more minutes. Oh, my hand. Kicking a pebble with the toe of your shoe, you wondered if your feet would be sore by the end of the day. It had been a while, but your muscle memory could step in. You'd done this walk thousands of times. I'm just glad Terry and Miranda are able to meet up with us. They're worth going the distance. You are my way. Ah, no夢今でも忘れてないでしょ You're my dream 始まったばかり You're my longest friend Whoa, we'll go in the distance Oh my god, why do I keep singing anime opening songs every time when a word from a title comes up? The corner of his mouth bent, and after a thought he shrugged. Maybe if we're lucky they'll drive us home. Maybe. Let's go. You bounced forward several steps and shot Cove a playful look over your shoulder. With that, the two of you began your trip down the old road. To the old town stop. It was a casual stroll into town, and before you knew it, you were at one of the large parking lots in Sunset Bird. It was the one that used to have the little crepe stall. Remembering the delicious smell, you got lost in thought. The store did well enough that it moved into a full-size building a couple of years ago. Now, you've seen the pictures, it was very cute. The parking lot was now just, well, an empty lot that cars could theoretically park in. Not many took the offer. Wait, why? Did it cost money? Cove pulled out his phone, texting Terry and Randy in a group chat to let them know you'd made it. 2 minutes, guys. Someone must have answered already because Cove gave you a status update while still staring at the screen. Randy texted, I can see you. Oh, Rick. The blare of a car horn cut you off. You and Cove both turned towards the source of the noise. One of the windows sprawled down.
Hey, buddies.
Hey buddies. Your friends had arrived, making a spectacle of it, as expected. Not surprised at all. Being the only car meant they got the pick of the lot, so they pulled a stop in front of you. The window closed back up, and instead the two front doors popped open. Terry and Miranda stepped out onto the pavement. Hi Cove, hi Airi. With a cheery wave, Miranda skipped towards you. Terry, on the other hand, walked speedily over to Cove, squeezing him in a hug. A quiet laugh escaped Cove, along with the majority of the air in his lungs. He didn't fight the constriction, but instead gave Terry's back a pat with a large grin spreading across his face. When he let Cove go, Terry came right up to you. He held his fist up for you to bump it. A bump. You pressed forward, meeting Terry's knuckles with a light bop. He greeted you with a satisfied grin. It felt so nice to have your friend group reunited as adults. Terry was currently a full-time lifeguard at the busier beach a town over. You were proud of him. He helped a lot of people in his line of work. Oh, I'm proud of you, Terry. Good job, Terry. Great job. Proud of you. Oh it's 2:30. We're gonna have to stop here now, so yeah. Oh my god, my hands are feeling tingly. I don't know if it's because of the coffee I had or because it's literally 2:30 AM. Oh my god, is this a new record now? But yeah, I had fun streaming this. I'm gonna save this again just in case. Load to a different scene, because I mean, look at the art, it's so good. Like, what the hell? What in the world? It's so good. Okay. But anyways, thank you for coming to the stream. I'll see you next time. I think next time we're playing Rakuen. It seemed fun. It looked interesting, so I was like, oh, cute. But yeah, next week we'll be playing Rakuen, and they'll be making a new schedule, as usual. But anyways, it's been a fun night. Or morning technically, because it's 2:31 AM now, but yeah, thanks for coming to the stream and see you next week. Bye. Bye bye bye. Bye. Oh my god, my eyes are actually starting to hurt a little. Bye. I think my throat's dead now.